Good morning folks, it's Monday again and I've just given this a heat up to red hot in the braising hearth to soften it. So I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to bend it a bit more, but first of all I'm going to put the other pipe stub back on there so that we can see where it comes to, get that bend to a point where it's about right, and then bend the second piece to go around there and underneath there. So we can't really do the first piece, the first joint, until we've bent the second piece roughly into shape so it's not hitting the floor. So I'm going to crack on with that. When I've got that done, I'll bring you back. I think that's all I've done this morning. Oh, I brought some bulbs from home. I brought some old bulbs from home, and I've put two lead lamps back together. So I've now got two working lead lamps because my old very nice fluorescent little Lidl's lead lamp finally quit, and I've binned it. So I'm now back to two lead lamps again. I've got a couple of lead lamps, and I've also got one down there that's a 12 volt one that goes with a low voltage power pack I've got. But there you go. Right, I'll crack on. I'll bring you back later. Bye for now. Well folks, once again the 2CV tractor has bitten me in the arse. I've had a rethink. There really is. My original thought, good job I've got a pipe bender, you can actually straighten them out as well. My original thought was to go down there like that and then over the top of there, but I've got V-belts there and I'm going to be really close to them. So I've had a rethink, and what I'm thinking of doing now is creating a similar rig to the original 2CV rig, which puts both pipes into a box like that, right, and then take a pipe off the box and go down and underneath that foot pedal. That's what it's looking like at the moment, and it's looking good. So join that to there, join that one to there, and then take another pipe off underneath and go down. I like that. It's simple. It doesn't involve many bends, but it does involve use of the bender. I don't think that's bad. I've softened this pipe this morning, and if you look at it closely you can see where I've gone bend, move, bend, move, bend, move, bend, move. But that's how you have to do it with these pipe benders, this type of pipe bender. It's not the easiest. I was telling Dinglezilla the other day that when I was an apprentice we used to use a Hillmore pipe bender for bending conduit, electrical conduit, and it was similar to this. It had a big metal former, but the former was a full semicircle, and this part, the roller, ran round the former, so the point where the pipe was being bent was constantly changing. It wrapped the pipe around the former stayed still, and the roller moved, right? And that you could produce beautiful smooth U bends, completely in a U shape with a conduit bender. But of course conduit is thin and soft, and it's designed to be bent. It's annealed, right? God knows what that pipe is, but it actually bends rather well. I've had no problem with it. So it's a different type of bender. You have to use a different technique, but I can see that this is very labour intensive. You have to get it all set up, pump it, release it, move it half an inch, close the valve again, pump it, release it, move it half an inch. It's labour intensive, it takes some doing, but it does bend it. And the thing is, before this I had no way of bending any sort of pipe. I used to have to either cut and shut it or heat it up and try and bend it as best I can, and that's never successful. It always kinks right at the last minute. But there you go. So I've added a duvet to the brew which I found in the shed. Anyway, what I'm talking of brews, I'm going to go and have a brew. Now I've sussed this out and I know what I'm doing, I'm going to go and have a brew. The only thing is I want to keep it sort of clear of this plate, right? Because that plate has to come off to change the V-belts. But how often you change the V-belts is anybody's guess, really. So there you go. Right. I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'll bring you back when I've got some more done. Bye now. Folks, I've sort of ground to a halt on the tractor because I needed something to cut 1.4 or 1.5 inch hole. And I've just remembered that my dear brother's got a nice set of Chinese hole saws. So it's about 10 to 5, so I'm going to nip down to his workshop on my way home and borrow them off him. We're going to cut a hole in there. We're going to weld that into there, and then we're going to put a short stub of pipe on there and make that into a joint with a clamp on it, so that we can adjust position and we can remove it easily as well. I may weld it, but I think it would be best clamped, because then I'm able to adjust it. And I do happen to have 2 sets of pipe here that slide nicely inside each other, so I'm going to go for a joint. But there we go, that's as it's gone today. I've done a few other little jobs as well which I haven't shown you, like, as I said before, the lead lamps, and just generally sorting stuff out and tidying up and eventually getting there. We've had a beautiful fire today. We've had some old scrap hardwood windowsills, and that's been really keeping us nice and warm, but she's going down now. I'm going to turn it off. Right folks, I'll catch you tomorrow, back for Tuesday. Bye now. Good morning folks, Tuesday, and look at that superb hole to fit that into. How's that then? Right, thanks to a Power Fix hole saw kit, which belongs to my dear brother. He's also got some Starrett cutters which fit it, but unfortunately not one the right size, but these are doing adequately. The thing is with these hole saws, don't push them, run them slowly, use plenty of cutting oil, and if in doubt put them in a milling machine and go really slowly with them, because they'll last a lot longer. They're plenty hard enough. It's just that people stick them in a drilling machine that's going too fast and press too hard and don't use cutting oil, and then get pissed at, oh, the crap, when they burn out. Well, if you abuse Starrett ones, you can burn Starrett ones out just as easily. When I was serving my apprenticeship, we used to use bloody dozens of hole saws for cutting conduit holes in trunking, building panels, building 3-phase control panels. We used to use hole saws all the time, and if you didn't treat them right, they just didn't last. You know, you could burn one out on the first hole if you were determined. The thing to do is not overheat them. Simple as that. Right, so I'm going to crack on with this. This is now looking good. Something is beginning to come to mind. I've stopped prevaricating and procrastinating, and I'm beginning to put something together. So the next thing to do will be to cut that to length and get an exact fit, and then put some tabs onto this so we can bolt it on, so we've got it in a fixed position. Right, so I'm going to crack on with that, and then I'll bring you back when I've got some more done. Okay, bye for now. And as you can see folks, we're making progress. Next thing I think I'm going to do is take that off by there and put a pipe coupler there that's welded into here, that goes straight, because that bend is now unnecessary. But that's done, that's done, that's done, that's on, that's done. So we're beginning to look like an exhaust system. Of course these ends will be capped off afterwards, but as you can see we've got quite a nice fitting inside there. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it or not. Whatever. Right, but there it is. It's coming together. It's coming together. I can feel progress. Okay, bring you back when I've done some more. Bye now. Folks, just gone 3 o'clock and we've advanced another tech level. Look at that for a jammy fit. What a jammy fit that is, or what? I cannot believe that is so perfect. But that's it. I'm going to mark around it now, cut off the excess pipe, and I shall just put 3 or 4 tacks on it into position and then carry on, so that if anything goes wrong further down the line I can untack and move, but that is going lovely. Okay, bring you back in a bit when there's some more to show you. Right, folks, close of play Tuesday. We're all set up and tack welded together, so I think that there you go, that's not a bad bend, is it, apart from where some idiot ran the bloody roller into it, but that's not a bad bend. So I think what we're going to do here, see it big, keep it simple. All this has to be able to move because it's on rubber engine mounts. There's a torque arm there, which we've discussed in earlier videos, which stops it jerking either way, but it's got to be able to move, so the exhaust moves with the engine. Now, there won't be a great deal of movement, but rather than go right out the back, I'm now thinking of putting the silencer just under there, like that, and having a pipe pointing towards the centre so the exhaust goes out the back. Right, there's quite a lot of ground clearance here, and there's plenty of space here, and of course there's plenty of holes in this panel to get some mountings off. It's going to have to be rubber mounted, so I'm thinking of maybe something like that down there, coming from that end. Now, on the original balance box on the 2CVs, this is how it works. It goes in there, and comes out there. Right, so I'm mimicking that to an extent. I mean, you know, we're not racing it. It's not an expansion box, but it is a balance box. And you can imagine that fires and blows that way, and that fires and blows that way, and there will be some sort of, if anybody knows about these things, reverse supercharging effect. When the exhaust valve opens, the inlet valve opens partially, and the incoming charge drives out some of the exhaust gas, but as a result of that, some of the incoming charge gets put down the exhaust port. If you can get a pressure wave going backwards up the exhaust port, it pushes that charge back into the cylinder, theoretically. That is what an expansion box on a two-stroke does. Now this seems to have been set up by the 2CV designers to do pretty much the same. Right, this balance box to balance the exhaust system and give it a pop, push, right? Whether this will work or not, whether I'm, I don't know, but we'll soon find out. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking of doing. Something simple like that. A piece of pipe on there, maybe an offset in that, so that goes up and then curves in like that. Right, and then this little silencer thing, one way or the other round, mounted just under here, like this, out of the way, nice and tight, but rubber mounted. Right, so that's how we're going, and that's how it stands at Tuesday evening. Time to go home. But it's going apace, and I'm quite pleased with it. It's difficult to make anything starting with fresh air, but I think that's really good. It's very rigid, and it protects the. See, what we had before was a tractor style silencer sticking up there. Well, it lasted about 30 minutes. It got broken off, and when it got broken off, I wouldn't be at all surprised that was when this got broken as well. Right, but that's all repaired now. So we're now a much more rigid rig. We've got a bracket to fixing bracket down there. It's bolted on down there, so that'll have a cap over it, of course. So will that. That might even get shortened a bit, but we're not at that stage yet. Right, folks, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow for Wednesday's fun and games, and I'm taking a tumbril, if you like, a gorilla tub full of firewood home to keep the girls warm. Right, see you later. Bye for now. Good afternoon, folks. It's Wednesday. It's 2 o'clock, and I've had a late start this morning because I've had other things to do, and I've got the grass deck on again, and I'm just looking and trying to suss out where I can put a silencer, and it's looking like it might end up being there, which would be good because it would mean I can attach it to this plate which does move with the engine. So once again, we don't have to suspend it, we don't have to put it on rubber mountings because it's moving with the engine. But it's very awkward. I suppose under there's a possibility as well. We've got to put the exhaust down somehow, right? So we've got to either have a curved pipe off the end of that going down in front of the axle, or we've got to go back, because we had an exhaust up here before and it really didn't work. First of all, it got knocked off, which, as I've said before, was what damaged that manifold, I think. And secondly, all the fumes came back in your face, so it was completely hopeless. But I've got to get this right. I've got to get this right without a doubt. And it's being awkward. Now I've got the grass deck on. I don't know if you can see under here. Let me just see if I can show you the problem. Now I've got the grass deck on. There is a lot less room under there to get anything in. There is room for a pipe, but there's room for precious little else. And of course I've got a V-belt here, V-belt run there, V-belt run up there, and to cap it all, at the back we have a plastic fuel tank, which is both sides plastic fuel tank. So I could come out here, that would be fine, but I'd have to suspend below the axle, because above the axle is too close to the fuel tank in my estimation anyway. And there's that big piece of steel under there which I made some long time ago, which makes the tow bar. I don't know. I'm going to carrying on and see if I can come up with an idea. And if I do, I'll bring you back. But I seem to have ground to a halt for inspiration at the moment. I've just been trying to look at an auction, an online auction in Hull, which is a load of equipment that I'm interested in, but it's hopeless for me. I've got a very poor internet signal at the moment, and I'm going to have to do it tonight when I go home. Trouble is, it finishes tomorrow. Alright, I'll bring you back if I get anything done, if I get any more inspiration or manage to make any headway. Bye for now, people. Well, folks, nothing has sprung to mind. I've tried all sorts of different combinations, and the problem is, of course, we've got a wheel there in lock which reduces this area a lot. I'm beginning to think that something like that, or like that, and then underneath there might be the way to go, but it's not easy. I've even thought about going back across that side, coming out of that end and going back across that side. I briefly thought there, but the battery's in the way. Everywhere you look, there's something in the way. One is tempted to do it like that, and I've done with it, because it does fit really well. It does look really good, but I've put one up there before, and it got broken off within hours of using the tractor, right? Because we go under low bushes and all sorts of things, and you only have to catch it on something, and that's it. You know, so really, when you're doing something like this, you've got to try and make everything as absolutely bloody bulletproof as possible, because anything that can get broken will get broken, because they get rived around. The field's not flat by any means. It's on a slope, it's on a hillside. It doesn't slope a lot, but it's uneven. It's in like sort of 3 tiers, down a hillside. 3 flat areas joined together by slopes, so it's not flat by any means. But this is a much heavier duty tractor than the ones we're using at the moment. But this exhaust has just got me temporarily beaten and frustrated. But I will do something. I will do something. You see, I know it's going to be too loud without a silencer of some sort on it. I think I'll have a rake around in Driffield tomorrow and see if I can come up with a silencer smaller diameter than that one. Now it could be longer. It could be longer than that and be smaller diameter, but I don't know, it's just awkward. In the meantime, I've done all sorts of distraction therapy. I've got a load more wood out for home, I've tidied up, I've put some more yeast in my brew, I've swept the floor, I've searched for bits of exhaust pipe and exhaust elbows, which I generally keep. Pieces of bent pipe generally go in a pile in a box somewhere and get used up. But there you go. Right, I'm going to sign off for today because I don't want to bore you to death with my frustration, and I've really achieved next to nothing today apart from a bit of tidying up and some struggling. I can't even get on my auction. Never mind. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow, Thursday. Bye for now, folks. It's still Wednesday, it's a few minutes to 5, and I may have got it. It involves a bit of a faff, but no matter. I'm going to cut that piece off there, move it to there, and then I'm going to put that exhaust into there, like that, mount it there, and then I'm going to put a short stub on the end pointing outwards away from the tractor. Right? This will be bracketed onto this part of the engine so that it is actually still moving with the engine, so I don't need to attach it anywhere on the frame, which is always dodgy. Right, so it will all be one piece and all clamped onto the engine, and then just a short stub out the end that points away from the tractor like that. And it will be short because I don't want to damage it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to crack on with that tomorrow and see how it works out. Because generally, like the rest of it, these things work out better than you think they will when you start them. But I cannot honestly see any other way to do it. If I put a pipe underneath the footboard there, I'm going to have to fix it in at least 2 points, right? And that means that it's fixing the engine to the frame so you get it working. So you need a rubber mount, right? Now there isn't really room to drop the pipe down to get a rubber mount above it, and that's the only fixing I've got. Plus the fact there's a drive belt back there, and there's the tyre, which I don't want to get too hot. So I think, all things considered, the best way to do it is to come out of there, down into the box, and then a short stub of pipe pointing outwards that way. So we'll go with that tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. Right, I bid you all a good farewell, and I'll see you all tomorrow on Thursday. Bye now. Well, here we are, folks. It's Friday. Thursday was cancelled. And I've been a very bad person. My clamps came, my new exhaust clamps came for the manifold connections, which is a good thing because the ones I've got on there are knackered. Right, but that's a good thing. I've come to the conclusion that I'd love to do it like that. That would look great, but it would knacker it. So I think what I'm going to do is come out at the top, in the centre, over and down, and put that somewhere like that. But I haven't got round to it. I was going to do great things today, and the first thing I had to do was to go and get my cousin and take him back to town to pick his car up. Yesterday we got involved with taking his car in and then going to the hospital in Scarborough to pick his wife up and bring her back, and that by the time we'd finished it was 4 o'clock and the day was gone, so I didn't get anything done at all yesterday. So it's going to be a short video. It's going to be a short video this week. I'm sorry, but we can't do anything about it. As you can see, I've got it all mocked up here ready, and I was just going to get loads done today, and then my mate Steve turned up, the guy who helped me build the bench there, and we've just spent the time sat here talking. So now it's almost home time, and I've got to go and do some shopping tonight, so I think I might just call it a draw for this week and go home and do the shopping and pick the wife's prescriptions up and call that it. But what I'm going to do before I go, I've just banged some more wood in the fire, and what I'm going to do while that burns down is just tidy the bench down so that I've got a nice fresh start next week. And let's hope I get some more done next week. So thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, send me a like, send me a comment, and once again I'll try and achieve more next week. So it is coming along. It is coming along. But I like to put out content that's interesting and people enjoy watching. And sometimes I feel I almost hit the mark, and sometimes I don't. And this week has been one of those didn't get much done weeks. Mind you, the bloody weather's atrocious as well. It's foggy, and at least it's warmer today. It's foggy outside and misty and miserable and cold. But it's not as cold as it has been for the last 2 days. Wednesday, Thursday were bitter. Right, see you all next week, folks. Bye for now.